May I know your name, madam?
Elaine Hunter.
And you are from?
I live in Kentucky, USA.
Yes. And how are you here? Here in Sri Lanka?
How am I here?
Yes.
I came for the World Congress, and I came to do some work at a school for hard of hearing preschoolers that's out in Gampaha.
Okay. Tell me something about your work. Your mission, your work.
My mission has to do with trying to find ways to protect our Mother, the Earth, from nuclear madness.
Tell me something more.
30 years I've been working on that. My other interest is in treating especially children in their early years that with cerebral palsy and sensory conditions like vision, hearing, at a time when it's going to make the most difference in their life, so that they develop more normally instead of someone told me in Germany we don't do acupuncture to children until they're 7 years old. A child with cerebral palsy, why bother when they're 7 years old? Some effect, but when very young, very good results.
Very good.
If the child has birth defects, not so promising. But cerebral palsy is injury, birth defect is not formed right.
Yes. So you recommend acupuncture for cerebral palsy?
Absolutely.
At what age we should start?
As soon as you know the child has a problem from birth.
Right. And how soon we can expect results, madam? Favorable results?
First of all, I'd like to say I believe that laser can make a big difference too. Laser to the points, as well as acupuncture to the points. But sometimes with the patients I saw, this kid needs a needle.
Yes.
Within the children that I have treated, in some cases you can see, okay, two that I can think of were unresponsive, didn't smile, didn't try to do anything. A special pattern on the foot, and I have a presentation about that. If you'd like to have a copy of it, I can send it to you. Within 24 hours, becoming responsive. Crying, smiling, before that not crying, not smiling.
Good.
And then as far as development goes, I treated my patients at Kalawila pretty much every day. And within a week to 2 weeks, you could tell that the child is developing.
That's nice.
Once the ability gets there, they have to just, like you and I learned from the beginning. They didn't have the ability, then the ability is there, and then they go through the development. One boy I had as a patient for 6 months. In the beginning, he was about a year old, just not doing anything, unresponsive. You could needle him. He didn't cry. Sometimes you want a child to cry because they're alive and responsive.
Yeah.
Well, after this special needling in the foot, within just a few days, you needle him, he cries. His grandmother, who said to bring him, said, now, and also I did some physical therapy type things and patterning. You understand patterning, where you show the child what to do by putting them in position. He went from this unresponsive little boy to, in the 6 months, I needled him many, many times. Towards the end, in May, when his mother would bring him to the clinic, he would practically jump out of her arms trying to get to me. So you know that it was okay with him. Now, I've also, in 2008, had an interaction, though, with a child with autism, very out of control. She wouldn't let me do anything.
Right.
But I put her in touch with someone who had a Sujak program on the computer program for analyzing and then treating with different colored lights to different points on this, based on the Sujak way of working. While she was sleeping, when she was awake, forget it. When she slept like a rock, and they treated. I was not involved in the treatment, just arranging that it happened.
Okay.
And I've got email. The mother, the family was from, they were Sri Lankan expats that lived in Australia. Now they're in New Zealand. And some months after I got in touch with the mother, they were just here for a few weeks for her to get the treatment. And the treatment had held with her. So that I'd like to see more kids with autism be treated that way.
But to what extent can you say they become all right? Subnormal, but to what extent?
You're asking me the question I would most like to know.
Even you.
But I have not been able to get later information about how these children developed. One girl was about 5 when I started treating her. I treated her for 3 months. Her father was so devoted to bringing her to the clinic. I referred him to take her to a school that's in Narhanpidia for children, for disabled children, and he did take her to school there. I showed, there's a book called Disabled Village Children that shows people how they can make the things they need if they don't have a doctor. There's another book that goes with that book, Donde hay no doctor, there's no doctor there.
Right.
Anyway, it showed a standing frame, and I gave him the plans for the standing frame, and I'm sure he gave to her. I didn't get to come back until 2006. I went to the school in Narhanpidia trying to see if I could find out how she did.
Yes.
But she had finished the program there before they started using computers. If it was after, I could find out, but because it was before, I couldn't get in touch with her to see how she would be an adult now. She was, when I first saw her, she was just this crumpled up girl, and she couldn't even get in a sitting position.
Oh.
But she, on my website, well, it's not a website, web page, it has a interview back from the parents of the improvements she had. One of them was less phlegm, which I didn't even treat her for that. It just was something that came as a part of the treatment. She had considerable improvement in the 3 months, but I would love to know. I would love to find her again. I haven't been able to find it. I found one patient again. I had him only for 2 months. He was an adult. He's the beggar in the wheelchair in front of Majestic City. And he would have had a lot more treatment to have improved very much.
Madam, but see, all your trouble or all your labor of treating someone is gone waste because there is no feedback.
Exactly.
From them.
It's not gone to waste.
Yeah,
you
but
know, we do what we can with what we have.
Yeah,
but it would
you
be
cannot.
much more valuable if I could have the feedback and could share the feedback with other people. But what I can say is do it.
So can you come up with some plan where we can, go on getting the feedback and improving our things? You must be thinking about some plan.
Okay.
Something.
That to me, that 6 months was kind of like a pilot project.
Yes.
If I were able to do 6 months again here, I would really get how to get back in touch with the parents. In 2006, I treated a girl here. She was 8 and had been unresponsive, mostly paralyzed since she was 3. I did the special foot acupuncture on her. Within 24 hours, she was crying and smiling. But she was being brought by her father, a 3-wheel driver, and he couldn't keep bringing her. What I would like to see is an inpatient facility because the parents, the families, however much they love the child, they don't have the skill. I would love to see that here. I have a daughter who, when she was 21, was critically brain injured in a car accident while she was pregnant. If you met her today, you wouldn't know. She has a 19-year-old, the baby she was pregnant with is my 19-year-old grandson, who is now a freshman at University of Kentucky. She had fabulous care in the hospital, ICU 2 weeks, surgical ward 1 week, and a rehabilitation facility for, I'm not sure how many months she was in the rehabilitation facility. They were wondering what it would be like if she still had to be there with a baby. She was finished before the baby came. And that rehabilitation facility had 2 wings. One was for brain injury, like from car accidents, motorcycle, whatever. The other one was for elders. And that because they had the same kind of social work, physical therapy, you know, you have to learn everything all over again when you have a brain injury. I would very much like to see something like that in Sri Lanka, where start on a small scale and build from that.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.